Back in 1969, I looked around and I saw I had 4 beautiful children. I lived in the house of my dreams, which is not a rich house. It was just a ranch house. I was comfortable. I had a husband whom I loved dearly, and he loved me. And I thought how fortunate I was. So I decided at that time, maybe I need to put something back to life. So I approached the idea with my husband of taking foster children. And he looked at me and said, "What, are you out of your mind?" And I said, "Well, how about if we try it just for the summer?" And after much reluctance, he says, "Well, just for the summer. I'll let you try it, but it's your project, not mine."
My father was pretty much a saint, and I know a lot of people say that about their parents, but he had great patience.
And he was the best father anybody could ask for.
He would do virtually anything for my mother. She was put on a pedestal. He treated her like a queen, rightfully so.
I said, "Well, why don't we take a child just for the winter?" So he allowed me to take a child just for the winter. And that child stayed over till spring, and so we got into the world of foster care. We ended off with 174 children over 17 years.
Jackie and Fred both had a real set of skills that made them very effective, but it was a very happy place.
The sheer volume of people. There was always somebody talking. Everybody would talk over each other. Everybody would be either yelling or joking or playing, and the TV's going. Getting a game of baseball together, you had an instant team. 10+ people around the dinner table. And that didn't include the animals that were also being fed at the same time. We had 2 raccoons and a skunk living inside.
And everybody felt welcome. I mean, it was just a way that just you wanted to spend time there. It was just a great place to be.
The harder the case, the more of a challenge it was for her, the more eagerly she would get involved. She would sink her teeth in and say, "You're not lost. I don't care that you're 15 years old and you've had this horrible childhood and everything about you is screaming, 'I hate you, I don't want any part of you, I don't need any help.'" That just made her more determined to reach through, to just break through whatever walls were up, because that kid needed it more to her.
And that's what made it exciting. That's what made it a passion. If they were just children that came in that needed a home, I don't think I would have stuck with it.
Never in all the years did she ever turn us down for any youngster that we came to her with. And we came to her with an awful lot of unusual and difficult challenges, an awful lot of unusual behaviors.
These were not bad kids. These were just kids who a lot of times were out of control, okay, and got in with the bad crowd and just didn't have the structure in their life. Some of my best friends growing up were some of the foster kids.
There really wasn't much distinction between us and foster children. We were all really treated the same, disciplined the same. If we swore, we got Tabasco sauce on our tongue, the same. So, there wasn't any kind of them camp and our camp, and I think that really made a big difference.
It's a passion, and it becomes a magnificent passion. And you grow along with the kids you're working with. You grow also. You grow to be a better parent. You grow to learn tolerance. You grow to learn patience. You grow to learn love. You grow to learn that you can do things that you never thought you could do. And someday, when you have to account for your life at the end of it, you can stand up and honestly say, "I really, really did the best I could." So that's what we learned.
I was with her the day that she lost Fred. And, her world really came unglued at that point.
My husband was always my cheerleader, saying, "You can do this, you can do this, you can do this." And we worked so well as a team. So when he was gone, it was like one half of me was gone.
And it was at that point that some of us who certainly knew her, knew of her natural talents and gifts, encouraged her to think about how she might take those gifts and get the necessary credentials to be able to move into the world of professionals.
And I thought, what do I do best when at work? Well, I work with kids. I love kids. I love to do it.
She's got tremendous ability to focus on what it is she wants. And it doesn't matter if everyone in this room said there's absolutely no way you're going to do it. That would not diminish her ability to go after that or work toward achieving it.
Oh, that was so scary. When I went back to school, I remember taking my first courses, and I was 50 years old when I started. And I was taking my first courses, and it was psych and soc, and you never take psych and soc at the same time because they're very similar and they overlap. And I remember going home and throwing the book against the wall and saying, I can't do this, I'm brain dead. And then I went out and I knew a friend that was in juvenile justice because I took a lot of his foster kids. And I said to him, Bear, I said, I need help with this, and I know you've gone through these courses. So I didn't have any money to pay him because I just didn't have any money. So I paid him in M&Ms for his children. And I got an A in both of them. And I said, well, by God, if I can get an A in these two courses, I could do the rest of them.
When she came into county government, she began to put together a program very similar to our TFC program in county government. One of the first specialized foster care programs with kids with mental health needs in Pennsylvania, and she created that, put that together. She then went on to become the director of the base service unit when she was working in county government, where she oversaw all of the mental health and mental retardation services for Northumberland County.
In the meantime, I went on to get my master's degree, and at his urging.
She was in that role when I approached her about coming to work for NHS.
And asked me if we want to start a program that will work with Pennsylvania's most severely mentally ill children. And we'd call it therapeutic family care.
It took a lot of cajoling. It took, frankly, her ability, I think, and her credibility as a professional and as a person, I think, to convince some of the bureaucrats in Harrisburg that this was an important program, that she could really make a difference in the lives of kids.
Now we've grown to over 550 children placed and 320 families, something like that, and growing. It becomes something like Schindler's List. You have to reach out. There's always one more child. There's always one more child that you have to reach out and try to help.
I really think her love for people and her compassion for people is in a lot of ways her energy.
There's no greater way to give of yourself than to open your home and share your life with other kids. And then in this part of her career, to help other families to be able to do the same.
It's a huge legacy to pass on. Just the kids that she's helped and the foster parents that she's trained who will go on to help others.
If you don't reach out and help that child, and you don't feel it's your job to help that child, then who will? Who cares if not me, if not you? And by reaching out, you become better than you ever could be. It makes you something better. You have to live the passion, you have to feel it, but it becomes a magnificent passion.